Nobody quite hates women like women. It's absolutely wild to see on just about a daily basis. Like, shout out to Pearl. Okay, I don't really watch her content, but I see what she does on social media, and outside of some obvious engagement farming, she's doing some pretty decent work. Okay, you can go and you can search it out for yourself if you don't believe me. But she gets a mostly positive cosign from me. But she gets attacked by these old broads on the regular, and it's absolutely absurd. And I've seen this one chick post this time and time again. She's 47 years old, and she's using old MySpace pages, old Facebook angles, trying to do anything that she can. It includes not wearing a bra in this picture right here in order to try to engagement farm on her own by saying that, oh, if these two ladies were last on Earth to repopulate the world, which one would you choose? Would you choose somebody who could not bring a kid to term, or, I don't know, a 27-year-old just saying that, hey, you at 40 aren't quite the same person that you were at 20. Feminism, even if you try to claim a conservative banner, still is intrinsic to your programming, but nobody gets I don't think anybody gets as much hate on the regular as Pearl does, so shout out to her for taking the appropriate approach to this stuff, something that Sydney Sweeney is also doing right now, okay? I talked about how I like Sydney Sweeney. Don't think that she's terribly talented. Don't really think that she's going to be the anti-woke savior that everybody's looking for. I just think that she has a pretty good disposition in life. So Sydney Sweeney apologizes for having great boobs during a bikini-clad Mexican getaway and shrugs off a bitter female producer. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Who said the Anyone But You star is not pretty and can't act. I'll be completely honest. I take my jabs where I say, it looks like her mom might have been cozying up to the bottle before, she was done producing a little Sydney. But to say that she's not pretty, you're objectively wrong. And you're also being petty. This is probably somebody who thinks that they're entitled to a certain amount of stardom, and their brilliance just simply hasn't been accepted by the world, and they just see somebody like Sydney Sweeney getting all of this superstardom for a relatively light workload and is just taking it out in a very petty way. But shout out to Sydney for going about this the right way, if you ask me. Sydney Sweeney shared a bikini-clad vacation photos of her Mexican getaway, but let's be completely honest, everything that she does shows off her most appreciated assets. Of her Mexican getaway on Instagram on Sunday while taking aim at a female film producer who had lambasted her looks and acting ability days earlier. In a few pictures, the 26-year-old Immaculate producer and star relaxed while sporting a cozy gray sweatshirt emblazoned with the phrase "sorry for having great tatas." Sydney sported the not safe for work top while demonstrating the splits alongside two gal pals. Now this is kind of 304 behavior, but anytime that you can dunk on old broads that think that they're holier than thou, you get a temporary pass. Her sizzling display appeared to be a rebuke of veteran film producer Carol Baum, who has never heard of her before, but okay, who has slammed Sweeney's performance for a hit romantic comedy Anyone But You. It made a lot of money, and yeah, I heard Sydney's performance. Not great. She looks great in the bikini. Not a talented actress. And again, with Immaculate, didn't do very good at the theater. And Madam Web, she looked good on the red carpet, okay? I've wished her well. Again, talking about Sydney here, okay? Really hope, because I like what she's doing right now. Making everybody upset. Making the right people upset. I really hope that she parlays all the attention that she's getting in her mid-20s and turns it into a lucrative career down the line. She goes more the way of Scarlett Johansson, gets acting talent to supplement her come up, as opposed to Megan Fox, where, whew! Anyways, Baum, known for producing Dead Ringers, Father of the Bride, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Oh, okay, cool. Well, I've at least heard of two of those. I don't know what Dead Ringers is, but alright. Made her controversial remarks during a live event in Pleasantville, New York, and New York Times film critic Janet Maslin. Also, a couple of old eggs get together to just dunk on very popular younger woman. Stop me if you've heard this before, but I'm looking at this I'm looking at this sweatshirt and it's like, yeah, sorry for it's just an old 50s throwback, but correct opinions, it's like, that's a hilarious sweatshirt. And if she specifically started selling that by replacing the old 1950s, schoolgirl cartoon right there. Just her in a bikini jumping rope. That would be, oh my God, that would be the best selling sweatshirt the entire year. I guarantee that. That's an easy $1 million day for her. Yeah, man, this is what she does. But is it unique from any other 20-something-year-old that's out there? At least not morbidly obese. At least she's not, like one of these old broads that are just trying to hold on. She knows exactly where she's at. She knows exactly what she's working with, and she's making the most of it. As opposed to, well, an old broad that hasn't had a hit in, the past 20 years. Because, yeah, I remember watching the first two Father of the Brides. Okay, Steve Martin, great in those. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I was never one of the ones watching it as it came out, but I understand that it's well regarded by a lot of people. Dead Ringers, I have no idea what that is, but this lady hasn't been relevant in Hollywood, probably since Sydney Sweeney's been alive, so I could understand her disdain. Following a screening of David Cronenberg's classic horror film, Dead Ringers, which stars Jeremy Irons as disturbed twin gynecologist, the 81-year-old USC professor confessed that she had just seen the in-demand Zoomers rom-com Anyone But You on an airplane and found it unwatchable. Yeah, okay. Well, that's fine. Scoffed to her class of future filmmakers. Explain this girl to me. She's not pretty. She can't act. So why is she so hot? I'll give you 2 reasons, you dumb old bag. She recalled that nobody had an answer, but the question was asked. Okay, cool. You're at a film school. You're at one of the wokest places on earth, and nobody wants to tell you, yeah, she's actually hot. You're out of touch, and this is why the industry's dying. Why are we listening to you, you absolutely washed up has-been? Yes, going back to her answer. Nobody had an answer, but then the question was asked, well, if you could get your movie because she was in it, would you do it? Yeah, it could be a launching pad for greater things. Take a look at what Madam Web did. Sub $100 million at the box office, cost what? $150 million, $300 million with marketing on top of that to create. And her and Dakota Johnson ended up elevating their careers off of that failed project. Like, it's not rocket science here. I said, well, that's a really good question, but it's a very hard question to answer because we all want to get the movie made, and who walks away from a green light? Nobody I know. Your job is to get a movie made. Representative for Sweeney subsequently lashed out at the producer in response. How sad that a woman in position to share her expertise and experience chooses instead to attack another woman. Yeah, not been around women before? Like, this is pretty commonplace. If that's what she's learned in her decades in the industry and feels is appropriate to teach her students, that's shameful. To unjustly disparage a fellow female producer speaks volumes about Ms. Baum's character. Baum has produced dozens of films featuring many of the biggest Hollywood stars of the past few decades, and just last year she published the book Creative Producing. That's nice, man, but if you can go ahead and reference stuff that didn't come out, or rather begin this century, I don't really take your opinions on modern day sensibilities that seriously. Like, I'm also going to tell you something. Okay, cool, you worked on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. If Sarah Michelle Gellar wasn't cute or even hot at the time, do you think that project would have lasted as long as it was? Like, it was well written, well acted, all that jazz. I'm not going to take away from the quality of the production. I'm just saying, were people going to give it any kind of attention? Because even fans of the series say that you got to wade through the first couple of seasons before things really start to kick off. Think if it was Bill the Vampire Slayer, things would have lasted as long as they did? No, of course not. She knows exactly why Sydney Sweeney is popular. The exact same reason everybody else knows that Sydney Sweeney is popular. All I'm going to do is simply, once again, wish her the best of luck, okay? I see pictures like this. I see pictures of her on the boat, and it's like, yeah, she's 26 years old. She's one of the most popular people in Hollywood. She is not insufferable like her contemporaries. She's also not acting like a hoe, to be completely honest, outside of being on a boat, which already triggers some red flags in me. But I'm going to go ahead and champion good behavior, punish bad behavior, and hopefully that'll end up creating a better society moving forward. I know, radical idea, right? So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.